Hi there, folks, and welcome to another episode of Michael in the Backyard. What you're getting ready to see in this video is a culmination of about 3 weekends worth of work. Took a lot of effort, but I feel it was worth it just for the experience. Sprinkling out a little bit right now, but what you see behind me here is a 40-foot by 8-foot wide standard shipping container that's 9 foot high. Now, 9 foot high is not standard, that's extra high. The tear weight on this particular trailer, as you'll see in part of the video, is let me double check here, 8,470 pounds. And what you're getting ready to see is what I did to bring this to my house, to my property. It's currently not in its final resting spot, but this was the big relief, was to get it here. And I ain't kidding you, there were some intense moments just knowing if I would be able to accomplish this task. This was a buddy of mine. He's moving, he was selling his property, and he asked me if I wanted it, and I said yes. And from that point on, the work began. What you're getting ready to see is a culmination of all that work, and the result is here. Spoiler, it's here, but you gotta watch and see how I did it. Now, I don't recommend anybody that's not a professional. I'm not a professional, but I know how to do things. To attempt or do anything like this, typically these are brought to properties in a different manner than I brought this one here. But they do sell some of this stuff that allows you to do things. And they sell materials that allows me to build things. So that's how I did it here. So stay tuned for the rest of the video. I hope you enjoy it. It's something I've never done in my life before, and now I have the experience of doing it. And would I do it again? Oh yeah, but I've learned a lot, and I do some things a little bit differently. And I might talk about that at the end of the video, but I might not. We're gonna do some things when I move this to its final spot where I wanna put it. I'm gonna do some things that would be things that I would do differently. So that would be for another video. Enjoy. All right, we got it glued together. It's now 4.5 inches longer. So it should basically sit on top of here. With this being just a little bit lower, I can actually take advantage of it now. All right. Was it the right thing to do? I don't know, but I have a short one, now I have a long one, and this should work for me. It's got this little pocket in here to keep this from kicking out. And I think, it's kind of hard to see, but this here, this is a little thinner, and I think it's actually kind of kicked a little bit, so this might be out a little ways, but I don't think it is. I think it'll work. Because this has got a little piece here to kind of push up against the box, and they've triangulated this. Now keep in mind, this was triangulated, lifting from here to here was unsupported. Now I've got more in support, so what I'll watch for when I'm picking up to see if this thing will actually bow a little bit. This thing tries to bow a little more, but I really don't think it will. I think it's still going to pick the trailer up and not cause me any issues. So we're going to let this cool down. And tomorrow, after work, we'll throw all this stuff in the back of the truck. If the weather holds, it rained tonight, so I didn't go over there and do anything tonight. And we'll see if we can get the nose of that trailer up in the air. Then I want to put that frame that I built back up front, kind of clamp it up there or kind of hold it in place and get some ideas of where, because I'm gonna actually create something very much like that goes into those side locks, and I can bolt them in to my plates. That locks in, and it's going to have the shear strength of a piece of steel, not just a bolt. The bolt's just clamping things together. The steel is going to be the shear strength, and then I'll be able to use this jack, which has a little more travel, and be able to lift up. I'm going to use have to use the trailer tongue with some plating underneath it to lift it up, to set it on the ball in the truck, and use that to hook and unhook it, because it's way too heavy to do it any other way that I have anyway. All right, we're going to clean up a little bit of here and put some tools away and get ready for when I bring the frame back over to finish fabricating the whole trailer tongue. But I'll get you over there while we're jacking this thing up using this jack now, and a combination, maybe both, I don't know, and let you see what's going on in step whatever, 2, 4, 5. I don't know how many steps it's going to take to get that container to my property. All right. We'll see you when we relight the camera up again. Okay. Shipping container. 40-foot long container. We need a way to haul it, right? So here's the side view of the container, right? They've got these little ears on the containers that come down like this and like this. All of them have the same type of configuration. Well, I'll show you something here in a minute. I got a thing that'll hook into here and put you a wheel right here. And I purchased that stuff because I can't make wheels and tires, and they already make this hub and all. It's a whole deal that's designed to do this job. But on the front, you can buy a hitch to put up here. And the hitch, they start out at they're over $2,000 a piece. Now, I did find one on Walmart.com, believe it or not, and it was for $888 on sale from $998 or something like that. But all the description was in Chinese. I couldn't read a bit of it. Don't know what any of it says. Leave it at that. I thought, well, sure, it says it'd be in my house in 2 days. Thinking doubtful, but so I just skipped on that part. And what it is it's a piece that hooks into the same eyelets here that this hooks into. Has a bar here. So looking at it from the front, it would look like this. This being, let's make it bigger. This being kind of more proportional to the shipping container front, looking at it this way. It's got a box that comes up like this, a rectangular tubing, bolted, and whatever other kind of fabrication that is built into it. Down here like that. So pretend that that's that rectangular bar there, here. I'm going to build one, is what I'm doing, out of 2 by 2 by 3/16 wall tubing. What that does, it's going to have a plate. That's going to come down here a little further. It's going to have a plate that comes down here and hooks into that lug. And then it's going to have a tongue that comes out this way. And it's going to have a coupler hitch out here. So there again, tongue that's coming out is going to be coming out at an angle. This isn't truly isometric. I understand that, but it's going to come out from the front, have that hitch here. So then I'll have some bracing that runs from here to here. That way, when you hook the truck, here's my dump truck, trailer hitch, truck box, cab, happy guy in there hauling a trailer that has never done before, and the DT 466 and the Allison transmission ready to do some work. So we'll pick this up and put it on the hitch and then pull it like a trailer. That's the plan. The only difficult part is this thing weighs like 8,600 pounds or 8,400 pounds. It's on the box. Sorry, got to go up in the air a little bit. Oh, that's the tare weight of the trailer. T-A-R-E. That's what it weighs empty. So what I have here is that, it sounds crazy, this is that rear axle piece that I purchased. The welds look decent. This weld is doing a lot of work here, which doesn't seem big enough, but my welds would look a lot bigger. So this goes into a slot. You put it in this way, you rotate it up, these ears lock it in. This goes up against the trailer box. And then obviously your heavy duty wheel hooks onto here. And I got some 16-inch 10-ply tire wheels and tires going on here. So that should do the trick. Over here, I have some tubing I'm getting ready to cut up and make that rectangle on the front. And this material here is for, I'm going to make some more of these ears. These are 3/4 inch thick. This is 3/4 inch thick. I'm going to make a couple more ears. I'm going to do my design a little different to hook on the front lower holes that are on the front of the trailer to lock the hitch in. Let's go back outside for a quick second. So out here, I have me a 5-gallon bucket of diesel, which I shouldn't need. The tank's pretty full. I've got, those are my big old 16-inch wheels. I got those there. I have my other hitch or axle here that goes on the rear end. I'm going to go out to the shop. I'll pull back out there before I leave and get my, I got a whole bunch of 4x4s that are cut up into 2-foot lengths so I can use it for cribbing. So I can, crisscross stack them and kind of support the front of the trailer until I get the hitch built. And plus I can get some better measurements. I'm going to build this rectangle this morning. It's going to be like 8 1/8 inch wide, 8 1/4 inch wide. And I'm going to make it 3 feet tall. So that thing, because when you put that tongue on there, that tongue's going to have weight on it. It's going to counterlever and hold itself against the front of the trailer. And what that does is lock it in at the bottom. That cantilever locks it in at the bottom. So when you pull up on the tongue, the upper part of the rectangle goes up against the trailer and supports it. And that way, all you're relying on then is a piece of steel shear strength to tear that steel in half, which is going to take way many more 1,000 pounds than that trailer weighs. And then it's all using the trailer weight and hooking points to your advantage. And there again, you don't go down the interstate with this thing. No, I got about 7 miles of back road, gravel and back road that I'll be taking to get back to my place here from his place. And I will not do 10 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour tops, whatever feels stable and safe. Now the trailer is going to be very stable because the axles, the wheels are on the outside at the very back. It can't go anywhere. Now once I get here, I might do some reconfiguring and put that axle set up, do something so I can put it more toward the, let's just call it standard trailer width back from the trailer, trailer length, instead of each end, it'll be in here somewhere. So I can maneuver it around my yard a little easier once I get it back, because the way I'm pulling it and have to have access to it to put it where I want to put it, I need to flip it 180, so I just have to swap everything end to end anyway. And it may not be as maneuverable in the space that I have. So with all that being said, let's get my gloves on so I don't get my hands. This material will turn your hands absolutely black. Now I did buy a heavy duty coupler. Now this thing is only supposed to handle, where does it show it here? I saw it. 14,000 pound capacity, tongue weight of 1,500 pounds. I'm probably going to be approaching more like 3,000 pounds of tongue weight. But there again, very static load. Nothing bouncing, getting away from me. No need for safety chains. Just because of the speed that I'll be moving. If it was to come off, it's just going to hit the ground and stop. We're not putting anybody else's persons or property in any danger. Now, some of you might be thinking, why would you go through all this trouble when you could have somebody? This is going to be a heavy duty thing. When you could have somebody haul this for you. And then it'd be done. Well, here's all the reasoning that I have behind stuff that I do. I'd really hate paying people to do things I can do myself. And is this something I can do myself? Right now, it's a bit of an unknown. But I did inquire about cost. And found out people can do this type of work for you. Haul it, move it for me. I priced that out. It was, and they're local, within 20 miles of me. It's $250 an hour. So a minimum 2 hours. Well, I know for a fact that it's going to take them an hour to come here and go back. It'll be a 1 hour round trip. There's $250. He is not going to get the job done in another hour, right? So minimum, so say you went up there and hooked onto the trailer, another hour. Brought it over here, got it in the yard, another hour. Set it in place where I don't have a place for it yet, another hour. So, you know, you're talking 4 hours minimum. I'm going to say closer to 6, but let's just say 4 for the sake of argument. $1,000. So now I paid somebody for $1,000 to move something from A to B. It's not where it needs to be. I still got to come up with a way to move it myself, which I have the backhoe and some other brainiac ideas to do things with. It's $1,000. And I have nothing materialistic in my hand to show for it other than pay somebody else the service. Well, that's where my brain goes. It's like, okay, what can I do for $1,000? Well, and then let's see, all the parts, wheels, tires, and everything I bought. I think it was, I'm not going to get this right. Let's just say $500 for the axle, wheels, tires, and stuff like that. $500. This material here and all the coupler and stuff, let's just go another, we're at $800. So we're at $1,300. So I've spent $1,300 and the trailer still isn't at my house. The starter I had to put in my dump truck cost me $580. I put it in, I didn't pay somebody to do it, I did it myself. But now I still have my dump truck and it's back in working order. We drove it around about 20 miles, my son and I did, after the repair, and everything seems to be functioning just fine. So what I'm getting at is I've actually got, when I'm all said and done, I'll have probably the same amount of money paying other people to do things for me. And I've done it myself, and I'll have a set of heavy duty trailer tires and wheels afterwards that I may use on something else. I'll have a trailer hitch coupler set up for a container that I could possibly use again in the future. Maybe I find another local container nearby that I drag to my house. You don't know. Then now it all of a sudden costs me half as much. And then if I do it again, it costs me, you know, start breaking it down. And there's the satisfaction and joy of knowing you did it yourself. That's probably worth more than all that money put together, in my book, in my eyes, and the way my brain works. And I get to craft and create. And this video wouldn't exist if I didn't decide to do what I'm doing. Now, another video would exist, but let's just say not this one. Got some hardware for some of the front stuff. I think you'll be stunned at how little bit of hardware it takes of actual nuts and bolts to do what I'm getting ready to do. Now the 8 feet, and we measured the trailer, it was right at 8 feet. I'm gonna err on the side of it being just a touch wider, just for the simple fact that I don't want to fight it, getting it around the front of this whole coupler onto the trailer itself. I just love this miter. I like miter in all my joints. I don't know if they're any stronger per se, but moisture and water cannot get in once I'm done. So we're gonna cut this at a 45. So this whole project's gonna seem a little hit and miss, but I'm kind of taking you through the process as I'm doing it. So it might be a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit outside, a little bit of a whole hodgepodge of stuff, let's call it. Just because this is how my day, yesterday and my day is going to go. I've heard a lot of people say, how do you get so much done? And I really don't get that much done, folks. Yeah, the video keeps me busy. Videos and doing things keeps me busy. I still work a full-time job. And when I get home at night, I am tired. And sometimes not physically tired as much as you are just mentally tired. And I pace myself as best I can. I don't try to overstress myself. There we go. First pair of miter cuts done. And when I get tired, I sit down. And do I feel guilty for sitting down and watching TV for 2 hours at night? No. That's, I gotta unwind. You gotta decompress sometimes, folks. And when you don't decompress, that's when you enter the world of burnout. And to my knowledge, I've never really been burned out. Now the reason these are going over here for now, for a second, is I want to actually take measurements, because these are going to be cut like that. Don't want to forget this tool. These are neat fans here. I've got a couple of them. They're handy for putting in the cab of something that isn't air conditioned, just to keep the air movement. This project like this is fun for me in more than ways than one. One of them is I'm using brand new material. I don't have to grind off paint before I can weld. And it'd be kind of fun with something this heavy duty wall, 3/16 wall, that I can just set the welder to kill and get after it. Now some people might look at my shop and go, Michael, you need a bigger shop. I'm not going to deny that a bigger shop would be nice, but, and there's days that I'm sidestepping stuff in here, making sure I don't, because things are kind of tight. But on the other side of the coin, I don't have to walk very far to get things. Believe you me, I don't need a bigger shop. I can lose things fast enough in this shop. I'll always like the idea that I don't need a ton of space to do a lot of creation. So, welcome back. I know it hadn't been but a second or two for you guys, but I captured is what I could capture when I was trying to pick that trailer up with my backhoe. The backhoe would inch it up a little bit, and it would just, it maxed out. The hydraulics would bypass. It's not designed to lift 4,000 pounds out there on the forks. Even though I was clear up on toward the bucket, it's designed to go in and curl and scoop and lift that bucket up. I've lifted some really big trees, but let's just say I haven't lifted any. Well, it's an 8,600 pound tare weight trailer, and I'm trying to pick up one end of it. That's heavy. So luckily I had this little 20-ton bottle jack, and I was able to use this guy right here. This goes into the lug on the front of the trailer. It kind of goes in this way, and you rotate it, and these ears lock on, and you push it against the trailer while lifting here. And it goes on, as you can see here, if this was the trailer over here, you can sit here and pick up, literally you can pick up the whole corner of the trailer, and the whole front end or rear end will come up. And I found that a 20-ton jack, you know, why 20 ton? Because I'm not lifting 20 tons, but I do understand that the 20-ton jack will indeed lift, will pump up a lot easier than and I honestly don't know that I need this long of a handle. Because I was able to use a handle this long in this little red jack, same 20 ton. But I'm getting a height difference here. I'm kind of seeing, the nice thing is this has got about 3 inches of stroke. No, 3.5. Yeah, 3.5 inches of stroke. And I want to see how much this one has, because I literally lifted up the whole back of the trailer. I don't know why I did that when I'm not lifting anything yet. Lifted the back end of the trailer with that 3/4 of an inch at a time. I had some 4x4s, some 2x4s, and some 1x4s. And I could actually lift up enough of the trailer to put a 1x4 in, settle it back down, and then lift up again, pull the 1x out, put a 2x in, all the way up until I got the wheels on the back of that trailer. And I'll put some, I don't know, film clips or something in there to kind of show you where we're at, how I got started, and where we ended up. But, so I went and bought this Daytona. This little guy is called a Big Red. I don't know where I got it. I've had it for a while. Very rarely use it because there again, it's short. You can't do a lot of work with it. But this one here, are we up to the top yet? We're getting close. Still going. Make sure I got it locked down all the way. Yep. So that was 3.5. This is 6.5. So this has got easily 3 more inches of stroke than this. What's that's going to help me with? Right now, when we're putting the boards down on the dirt, and we're compressing soil, we're compressing things, and when I get this stroke in there, I'm barely able to get up to get a board in there. But with the same amount of compression, 3 more inches, I can get almost a whole another 4x4, at least, you know, a 2x4 or 2 in there. That makes sense? So the method behind the madness here is going to be I'm going to lengthen, and these go down so slow because they are a heavy duty jack. So that's all the way down. But at least now I know about 3 more inches of, golly. And then when you have to push this down, there we go. There. Okay. So now I can get a rough measurement here and go, and this one was working. I could get this and this to work. So what I want to do is cut this bad mammer jammer right here, lengthen it up, re-weld it together, and then I could take advantage of this jack sooner, quicker, better. And I still got the other shorter one of these that once I get so high off the ground, I can just swap these out and use the shorter one instead of the longer one. It doesn't matter at that point. But yep, let's just say we got 10.5 and 6.5. So about 4 inches. So I'm going to cut this. I'm going to add 4 inches in here, maybe 4.5. And that'll get me a good start for using that one to do the front end of the trailer. Because the back end of the trailer, I spent, what you see there on the back end, took me 4 hours of 3/4 of an inch at a time. I want to be a little more efficient with my time. By going an extra 3 inches, I can really get this thing airborne quicker. All right. All right, we got it glued together. It's now 4.5 inches longer. So it should basically sit on top of here. With this being just a little bit lower, I can actually take advantage of it now. All right. Was it the right thing to do? I don't know, but I have a short one, now I have a long one, and this should work for me. It's got this little pocket in here to keep this from kicking out. And I think it's kind of hard to see, but this is a little thinner, and I think it's actually kind of kicked a little bit, so this might be out a little ways, but I don't think it is. I think it'll work. Because this has got a little piece here to kind of push up against the box, and they've triangulated this. Now keep in mind, this was triangulated, lifting from here to here was unsupported. Now I've got more in support, so what I watch for when I'm picking up to see if this thing will actually bow a little bit. This thing tries to bow a little more, but I really don't think it will. I think it's still going to pick the trailer up and not cause me any issues. So we're going to let this cool down, and tomorrow after work we'll throw all this stuff in the back of the truck. If the weather holds, it rained tonight, so I didn't go over there and do anything tonight, and we'll see if we can get the nose of that trailer up in the air. Then I want to put that frame that I built back up front, kind of clamp it up there or kind of hold it in place and get some ideas of where, because I'm gonna actually create something very much like that goes into those side locks, and I can bolt them in to my plates. That locks in, and it's going to have the shear strength of a piece of steel, not just a bolt. The bolt's just clamping things together. The steel is going to be the shear strength. We'll see you when we relight the camera up again. Alrighty, folks, we're out here on the job site, as we call it, and we got, this is the last place we were working, but I'm gonna walk you around the back side of the trailer, show you that we got a pair of wheels under it, like I kind of alluded to in the beginning, or have it somewhere in the beginning. Trying to keep track of where I'm at on all this videoing. We got some rain. We put these, I tried to put some boards underneath these wheels. They definitely still sunk a little bit, but I got the axles under it with the tires on it. Still got a 4x4 to dig out from underneath there, but it's up on the wheels here. So what we did last night with that little bit of a welding job is lengthen that short one, which as you can see where it's at right now, I'm gonna put in the new one that's taller, so I can plant that right there and start picking this front end up to get it, kind of get things back to, let's call it maybe a little bit more level. And I have my frame here that we built that's gonna hook onto the front of this joker and create a hitch on the front end. That's the game plan. So I'm gonna put you in time lapse, and let's see if we can watch this thing slowly rise up out of the earth here. How's everybody doing this evening? Saw's cutting over here, making a little noise. Thought I'd catch you up a little bit on where we're at on this trailer tongue that I'm building. This is a little bit of a monstrosity, but also what I'm moving is not small either. So what we got here is a trailer hitch with a 2 5/16 ball. I am hoping that will be enough. Now, it's not rated to handle the type of weight we're going to do, but we're also not going down to interstate speeds. We're going to be creeping along at 5 to 10 miles an hour from my buddy's house to my house with this trailer in tow. That's the plan. Now, I got this rectangle back here, as you can see. That is the width of the trailer. The outside plates here, right there, those plates are going to go into a pocket or line up with a pocket. And that pocket is on each side. And there's going to be a pin. I got an 1 7/16 pin that's going to go into there, into that pocket. It's going to have a T-shaped. Let me show you here. I shouldn't say T-shaped as much as it's going to look like this shape. It's going to go into the slot, turn 90, and pull out. Now I got a drilled and tapped 3/4 inch hole in the end here that's going to bolt it and suck it up tight against that plate. Now I haven't cut that to a finished length yet because after looking and examining and scrutinizing what's going on with this thing, I have come to the conclusion that this 3/8 plate that I thought was going to be thick enough, pretty sure I made 3/8, yeah, it's 3/8, and I'm going to stack another 3/8 plate out here on the end that's going to have the 1.5 inch hole through it that the pin's going to be in. So how does this work? Well, the pins lock into here, this ear here, under the bottom of the trailer. And then the tongue pressure is going to be up, which is going to be trying to rip this straight ahead. So I've got this piece here, tongue here, and I've got this piece here, diagonally here, going to the corner to kind of give the tongue strength. So when you're lifting up on this top part right here is up against the trailer, the most rigid part of the trailer. This here is just tying the two together. There is no stress, strength, or anything really applied to this other than it's holding these two together from doing this, which once I weld that, it can't do that. The tensile strength of trying to pull that apart is just enormous, more than I could ever exert on it with what I'm doing. Now, the reason for this piece going up is when you lift up on this, that pin down at the bottom is keeping it from coming out, locking the base tight, putting a lot of stress down there, but this is going up here to apply upwards pressure. When you pick up on it, it's going up to the corners to give it some leverage. So I went up about 3 feet here. It seems from what I've seen from just like estimating what I've seen other people do, theirs aren't like this, but this is what mine's going to be. With that being said, I'm going to have another one coming up over here. And then if we think about it, the amount of stress that's going to be applied right here would cause this tubing to go whoop and could bend right here. So what I'll do when I get this top parts done is I'm going to add another piece of tubing like this down below that's going to come in under here, clear up under this one, and just going to Siamese those two together. That's going to make this twice as strong in this direction. So then trying to bend this and that at the same time would be very difficult. And this will be kind of skip welded together on the bottom. And that'll distribute the stresses over multiple stress points. That's the engineering behind it. This will be welded onto here. I will also throw some bars across here that we can actually use as a jack plate to jack the trailer up and down with, to hitch it and unhitch it off the truck. That's the long and the short of it. I will put some, let's just call it down here on, let's look at it over here. I will probably put some lifting eyes type things right here, maybe right here, so I can run a ratchet strap from here to the top of the trailer. So when this thing isn't supported by the truck, it won't drop, because otherwise it's just going to try to pivot right here. This will keep it sucked up tight against the trailer so that we don't have to worry about, you know, unnecessary floppage while we're trying to move things around and handle things. So far, I bought 4 24-foot sticks of, this is 2-inch square tubing, 1/8-inch wall. Pretty heavy stuff overall for most projects. I've got 3 12-foot sticks left after I cut this stick up, because this stick's gonna go from here to here and from here to here. And then I gotta cut another stick to go on the bottom to give that strength. And I think that's all the tubing stickery I gotta do. Now these are a pain to cut. This up here, to get that to lay flat enough up against there that I can put a weld in all the joints, a good big fillet weld there. And down here, these are a little bit of a compound angle. And it's not like this bottom piece right here. That is not a compound angle. It's just scrap. But what I've been cutting that compound angle with is my handheld bandsaw. That's about the only way that I could get the carving done. And then I do a little finish sanding with my coarse sanding pad to try to, you know, blend it in a little bit better. But it took a while. I bet I spent 45 minutes getting this all cut, and I got to do another one like it. Now I know approximately how I'm going to attack it. The second one will probably go a little bit faster. I also can copy this one, because this one should be a mirror image for the other side. So I'm going to throw you guys back on time lapse. You're going to watch me kind of put the rest of this together and get it to where the goal tonight is to get all these pieces tacked in place. Then all I got to do is welding. And I'll give you an example of the type of welding I'm doing. So that's one of my joint welds right there. And that's just one side. I'm going to do the same kind of weld over here, top and bottom. Because if you think about stuff like this, the only thing holding this whole apparatus together is the weld. I mean, there is no bolting, plating, or anything like that. It's all weld. Now, there might be some areas where it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to put a plate right here for extra strength in this area here. But I think we'll think about it. I got some plate if I need it, and I can place that plate on here. And just some of these joints, I could like just plate weld it together just for some added security and strength. I think truly my weakest link will be this coupler. And I may even weld a strap around here just to add extra strength to this nose right here. Heat it up and bend it around it and all that kind of fun stuff. Everybody, it's another day in the shop. Yes, the door is open. It is a beautiful break in the weather this morning. It is currently saying it is 65 degrees out, which is a far cry better than the upper 80s and 90s we've been having with high humidity. So beautiful day to be out here. Door open, welding in the shop with the door open. I got me a little fan in the background pushing some air behind me. Let's get that bad boy turned on. Little 4-foot fan I got. It's a Drio. It's a pretty slick fan. Oscillating. Can you see it back there? Oscillating fan. Multiple speeds. Doesn't have to oscillate. With a timer so I can set it to go off and say 2 hours I'm going to be in the shop. I'm going to be gone after that. I don't have to remember to shut it off. It'll just turn itself off. Comes with a full function remote. Pretty cool. If I think about it, I'll leave a link in the description. What we're doing today, we're going to finish welding up this frame for the front of the trailer, the container that I'm getting ready to move, try to move. Never done it before in my life, but we're going to give it a whirl. So we'll just set the welder to kill. Make sure we turn the gas on. Hopefully I got enough to get through this. If not, I'll have to go get some more. I think it's time to break out the weld sleeves. Well, because it's a lot of welding. A few sparks here and there don't bother me. But it's about to get hot for a long time. It's just a good idea. All right, big welds coming in. Big, beautiful weld passes. Well, that's what we're going to be doing. Let me show you this weld real quick. Give you an idea what kind of welds I'll be putting all over this thing. So it's going to take me a little while. So we're going to be doing stuff like that on every single joint on this thing. And there's a lot of joints going on here. And we're going to get it built up. But keep in mind, the only thing holding this thing together, these tubes don't just stay together by love or no hardware fasteners. All the strength and everything is going to be in the weld holding it together. And we're going to make it happen. I've got it flipped up like this, so I'm going to get everything in this angle that I can get comfortably. Then I'll slide it back, lay it down, get some more angles, flip it over. You get the gist of it. We're going to be flipping this thing around a couple, 3 times. And the very last thing I'm going to do is grind the paint off this hitch everywhere that I'm going to lay some beads of weld to hook that hitch onto the tongue. All right, let's get started. We're going to put you in time lapse. Let's get this beast done. it was about this time I was thinking about, what am I doing? What have I signed up for? What decisions have I made? And I've said this to somebody recently, and I've said it to other people, everything that goes on in our lives are all about the decisions we make. None of this stuff happens to you. Some things are unfortunate, some things do happen, but most of your life you spend making decisions, and whether they come out favorable or not is all up to what you're doing. And I'm thinking about all that right now, because this thing is not light. Now it looks like I'm moving along at a pretty good clip here. My wife was following me, the boss was following me in her car with the flashers on, and she was my emergency getaway, car. So if something was to happen, we get in that car, we go get some more stuff, we come back to the point of where things just snap or break. And you can see I've got a ladder, I got some cribbing, and I got a floor jack in the back of the truck. So if I had to, I can unhook the truck, leave the trailer where it's at, and then come back and get it. And it was right after I got this drone in the air. I will say this again later in the video, but I've got this thing only a quarter mile away from where I picked it up, and I looked at the hitch, and the hitch is bent. About a third of what it was bent when I show you at the end of what it's bent like. Okay. And it's stunning to see what it actually put up with and what it tolerated. But these roads look smooth, but they're not smooth. They've got ripples and ruts and potholes and stuff. And I'm trying to favor the side of the road. And in this view here, you can see that the trailer doesn't track exactly straight behind the truck either. Those wheels are a little bit, they're not locked in. They're not a straight axle through type of thing. And but it's doing as well as it can do for what it is. So right now the drone is tracking me pretty good. You kind of get a bird's eye view of what's going on here with old Blue Thunder and the trailer that we're hauling, or the shipping container. Now keep in mind, I've never done this before, folks. This is just insane thing for me to tackle. After I committed to it, I'm like rethinking all my life's decisions at that point, going why? But it made a long ways, and my biggest fear was the turning. Hopefully I measured out the tongue length and got everything set up so my turning radius, so I could pretty much jackknife this thing, not jackknife it, but at least 90 it pretty close and still have room. The only thing I found out when I was turning is the straps that came down that hold this tongue up there. That gives you an idea how fast everybody else is going compared to me. And he wasn't flying by, but he did kick up plenty of dust. He's probably doing 45 or so, maybe. Doubt that he's even doing 50. But I was more worried about the turning radius and having to make some of these swings on some of the turns I had to make. Right now I'm getting back on pavement, and things are feeling a little bit smoother, and I feel like I shifted into second gear a couple of times, and it felt like I was flying, but I had to be very careful. I didn't go any faster than that because there's some hills, and here it is. I've got, a 13,500 pound truck with air brakes all the way around, and you can see it looks like I'm picking up the pace a little bit here, which I did. But once I started going downhill, I started, just easing into the brakes and just kind of kept taking it easy and not doing too much. I didn't want to go too fast. I want to be able to stop because this trailer has no brakes, or this made-up trailer has no brakes on it whatsoever. So I wanted to be very careful not to let it get out of control on me, because that thing could easily push my truck around and make me jackknife and get out of control and make a mess out of things. So I kept it what I figured was pretty manageable. Here we are stopping. I'm bringing the drone down there's the boss waving. So we're stopped in the middle, and just keep in mind, this highway is not very busy. I've traveled this road back and forth to my buddy's house 5 times, like 5 trips one way and back is a trip. So let's call it 2.5 times actually. And during the weekend, and I bet all 5 of those, let's say 2.5 trips, round trips, I met literally maybe 6 vehicles total. Now this is on a Friday I'm doing this, and so things are a little bit busier, and we probably ran across, 15, 18 cars total. There again, not really plugging up traffic, not really causing a big problem. This is a very, very rural area, as you can see by the farm countries and the small acreages and stuff around. This is very way out there. Here's my first turn. Here's where I probably swung a little wider than I needed to, but it was my first practice turn. and to see how far this is going to swing. See, normally it would turn tighter if those wheels were a third way up the back of that trailer. Plus, it would take a lot of tongue weight off. But here, I wanted to make sure I didn't drag that left rear wheel through anybody's yard or through any telephone poles or drop it into a ditch, period. Now, my biggest fear was coming into my property. Now, I didn't get a drone footage of that because I was there again, had to put the drone away. It was highly focused on what I was doing. But believe it or not, I was swung as wide as I could, and I just missed the ditch with my right front tire on the coming in the driveway, and in the left rear tire missed my mailbox literally less than an inch. I used everything I could to get it in there, and I made it in. The only thing I had trouble with was coming into my double gate in the back there to get in the backyard where it sits now, is I had to slide the trailer over about 2.5 feet to clear my gate. And I did that with a backhoe, and I preemptively put the backhoe in the front yard because I knew if I had any trouble, I need to be able to get, a hold of this thing and move it around. Here, there's a material truck coming up behind me, and I actually saw it. Once I got to move it again, I saw it. So then I slowed down again and I stopped, and I waved him around, and he came on around me. And I think that was the last vehicle I had on this road that came near me or around me or anything like that. So after I waved him around, he come on around nice and gentle. He had plenty of room. I got as far right as I could. I had my right tire just barely in the grass, and then he come on around, and then the boss and I started moving again. Here again, I'm riding down pretty much the middle of the road because you can see this road isn't crazy wide. 2 trucks meeting head on would just take the entire road pretty much. And I was thinking about that the whole time when I was, planning this whole job, is what's it going to take to get us there. Now here you can see, we're in Iowa here, and you can see how the corn is up and the beans are up and everything's just so lush and green right now. And this is where I decided to bring the drone back down to reality to, because I got to focus on what I'm doing next. And this is Michael coming up to tell you about the rest of the video. Hello everybody, we're back at the end of the video, and I wanted to show you a couple of things. This thing here, this is I think it's a class 3, let's see here. Yeah, class 3 hitch. Tongue load rating 500 pounds. Gross load rating 5,000 pounds. So it was not meant for what I did. And chances are putting it in this direction is not what it was meant to do either. But I see people do it all the time. But I just wanted to show you how much this bent. This straight edge here, this is putting straight here. You can see how much that drooped. And then, let's just pretend that this was flat. This is how it was supposed to sit roughly. And it's you can kind of see how the ball is pointing about 20 degrees the wrong way. This out here was theoretically flat. So it gave through here. I don't know if the gusset actually stretched. Nothing cracked. There's no signs of, well, the paint cracked right here. You can see a little crack in the paint there. And maybe right where the end of that bead, you can see where the paint got pulled a little bit there. But it survived. The ball is still good. Nothing wrong with the ball. But I went to Harbor Freight today, and I showed the guys a picture of this. And he's like, I showed him the picture. I'll put it up on the screen right now. And he just did a double take on it. And then I flipped to the next picture, which showed the truck and the trailer still hooked up to one another. And he's just shook his head. He's like, oh my gosh. So even though this probably says where it's made even on here. Be my guess. Maybe it doesn't. It's made by Hallmaster. Meets SAE J84. I can't see the middle part here. But, I cannot complain one bit about what I put this thing through. So think about that trailer. The tear weight comes in around at 84, what did I say, 8470, something like that, is the tear weight on that trailer. And that tongue I put on the front alone was 370 or 325 pounds. I weighed it with my digital scale in the shop when I built it. And so just the tongue itself used 3/4 of the tongue weight capacity of what that thing was designed for. So everything I did, let's just call it, was wrong. That's why I say don't do what I do. I'm gonna get you a closer look at some of how this was done. You can see up close some of these welds now. Now obviously it's got some rest on it because it's been sitting outside for a couple of days. And this block here, and this washer, and what's on the other side of this is a 1 7/16 piece of bar stock that goes through and hooks to that ear that I built earlier. But yeah, all this held up, and all the bouncing and pounding. I'm going to show you up real close right here. That bead weld is sitting right there on this front face. It did not collapse or bend this end at all. This material here is thick and it's strong, and it didn't go anywhere. We'll look at the other side just for funsies. But the weld, that little bit of thickness of the bead weld right there, I think you can see that, took all the pressure right there, and it didn't give. And that way, up here, none of the door hinges, nothing got, or the door locks, none of that got stressed at all. So this is how it did. It did really well. All the weight's still sitting on the tongue, but the fact that it did it is amazing in itself. And old Blue Thunder, the old dumper truck, did pretty good. I'm gonna show you something else that happened, because at that time when I put these wheels under it, the trailer was still full of stuff, and I had to use my 20-ton jack to pick it up to get it into this configuration because there was just too much weight in there. But you can see right here, I don't know if you can or not, this has a little bit of bend in it. This gusset could have been a little bit stronger. It gave a little bit right here, but that's okay. It made it home. And it didn't bend any further. This one also has the same kind of little bend right there too. They both bent about the same. And you can see the wheels are a little bit splayed out, but that's something I can fix. That's not a problem. We can make those like new again and actually probably make them stronger. But, which is probably for another day, obviously. But that's it. That's the saga of how I got this shipping container to my house. And like I said, I don't recommend anybody doing this themselves. You can, it's possible. I'm just saying there was a lot of effort here, some money spent, but I've got things left over. I could actually cut that tongue apart and salvage 85% of that metal just by cutting it apart with my bandsaw, and I have some more heavy walled tubing for another project, whether it's building making me a material rack, or who knows what's in the horizon, or guardrails for around my next trailer. It could be any number of things. But here it sits, and here's how we got here. But I just thought I'd show you that trailer hitch. I'll show you, like I said, I threw a picture up on there of how that bent. That bent a third of the way when I was only literally not even a quarter mile from where I picked it up. And I stopped to get the drone out and I looked at it. I'm like, oh my goodness. And that was not rough road at all. So every bridge abutment I hit, which is only one, every little pothole or ripples in the paved or the unpaved road, the dirt road, I'm thinking that's just over 4,000 pounds, just bang, 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 just knocking the crap out of that hitch. And it made it. I had my head after I saw the first part of it, and I got out and looked at it again, and it was another third bent. And after I changed out the first drone battery, and I'm like, oh my goodness, there's no way this will make it home. So I had plans, because I had the floor jack on the back of the truck, as you can see in the video, and I had some more cribbing. And I thought, well, I'll just have to jack this up, take it off the truck, go get me another one and re-gusset it better to get me the rest of the way home, which would have added literally hours to the day. But fortunately, someone was looking out for me, and my guardian angel apparently says, we'll let you get by with this one, buddy. Somehow I did. So, well, folks, thanks for watching. I hope you appreciated this video. If you haven't thought about it, like and subscribe. We got more content similar to this coming up. Who knows? I go from bicycles to moving shipping containers to welding to, who knows what's coming up next. I do, because I kind of have an idea. I don't make lists. I quit making lists a long time ago. Sometimes I'll make lists just to see how much I can knock out in a day. And I never feel bad when I don't get the entire list done, because that was just a suggestion. And whatever I get done is accomplishments. And just keep my feet moving, my brain grinding, and bringing you along for that ride. You guys be good to one another. This is Michael saying, if it ain't broke, fix it till it is. Be good to one another, and smile. Smiles will come back to you. I'm out.